My name is Shania, or you can just call me Shania, and I'm from Indonesia. And today I'm going to share about Indonesia, my country, and the culture. So first, I will start with a video first. So the next thing I would like to first ask is, have any of you heard of Bali before? Bali Island? Raise your hand, please. Oh, that's kind of. Okay, so why I ask this question is because a lot of people actually know Bali Island, but also some of them don't know that Bali is actually at Indonesia. Did anybody know that Bali is in Indonesia? No, you know? Okay. So the one thing here I would like to introduce is that Bali is actually from Indonesia. So you can see here that there's a lot of pictures here from Bali, where here you can see, this is the airport, so you can see these things later when you go there. And there at Bali there's a lot of temples that you can see, and there's a lot of like attraction where one of them is you swing right above the grass. So here is the location where Bali is at Indonesia, and Indonesia here is like consists of a lot of islands. So you can see there's in total like 7 big islands, and Bali is one of the most known islands in Indonesia. So I'll just introduce a bit about Indonesia. So Indonesia is just beside Malaysia, if you guys know. And the official name for Indonesia is Republic of Indonesia, and it is one of the countries in the Southeast Asia where it is located between the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean. And the capital city is here, Jakarta, where I'm from. And in Indonesia we have 38 provinces, and also the national language is called Bahasa Indonesia. So Bahasa means language, so the direct translation will be the Indonesian language. And the currency we use is Indonesian rupiah. So for example here, 10,000 rupiah is equivalent to around 20 NT. So Indonesia area is quite big, like around 1,904,569 kilometers square area. And there's around 280 million people at Indonesia. I know it's quite crowded, right? And because as I said before, there's a lot of islands in Indonesia. We have around 7,500 islands, but then like around more than 700 are uninhabited. So here I will show, so this is the flag of Indonesia, where it's just simple red and white. So the red color here represents the blood and courage of the people, while the white represents the purity and spirit of Indonesia. So here is the Indonesian flag, or we call it Sang Merah Putih in the Indonesian language, which the direct translation would be the red and white. And here is the national motto of my country. So the national motto will be this one, the yellow color one, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which is in a Sanskrit language. But in Indonesian language, it's called berbeda-beda tapi satu, which in direct translation means unity in diversity. So because Indonesia, there's a lot of island, a lot of culture, a lot of biodiversity. So we have different opinions, different culture and everything. So that's why we have this motto to like unify us as a country, as Indonesia. And then you can see here at your right side, we have this national emblem, which is called the Garuda Pancasila. So we can see here there's a shield also in the middle of the eagle, and we can see that the fur, I know it means maybe it means nothing to you guys, but here at the neck of the eagle here, there's actually 45 feathers, which means that, let me just tell you one by one. So at the neck there's 45 feathers, and the wing there's 17 feathers, and at the bottom here there's 19 feathers, and at the tail there's 8 feathers. So this number might mean nothing, but it actually means the Independence Day of Indonesia. So our Independence Day is 17th August 1945. So that's where the number of the feathers come from. So like 17 feathers and 8 which is from the tail, and then 19 is from the bottom here and 45 from the neck. So it's like 17 August 1945, which is the Independence Day of Indonesia. And then here from the shield itself, it also means something that it means that it's the 5 principles of the Indonesian national ideology. So I know this might seem a lot, but I'll just summarize that the first one, which is the star here, it just means that we only believe in one God. And the second one is that we have a justified and civilized humanity. And then the third one is the unity of Indonesia. And the fourth one is about the democracy, that we are led by a president. And then the fifth one is that we have social justice for the whole Indonesian people. So that's what the 5 logo of the middle of the shield means. So, and I forgot to mention that at the national emblems itself, it also has the national motto that I mentioned before at the leg of the eagle, where it's holding the scroll with the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. So I also would like to share that this national emblem is actually inspired from the Jawa bald eagle. So it's pretty cute, right? So it's like actually a small eagle compared to the other big eagles, and it's actually just you can only find this at the Java island, which is at the island where it consists of the capital city. So about the race and ethnicity of Indonesia, because as I mentioned before, we have a lot of island, a lot of culture, and the biodiversity is very huge. So we have a lot of race and ethnicity, where we have around 31 different races. So anybody can guess where I'm from? No? So I'm included as the minority, which is number 80, the China, which actually means Chinese. Yeah. So I'm actually counted as Chinese Indonesian, but don't speak Chinese to me, please. I'm not that good in Chinese, but I'm considered as one of the Chinese Indonesian. So I'm actually like only 1.2% of whole race and ethnicity. Yeah. And our biggest race and ethnicity will be the Javan and the Sunda people. Then about the religion, there's 6 religions, but the biggest one would be the Muslim or Islam people. A lot of Indonesians' religion are Islam, but then we also have like Christian, Catholic, Buddhism, Hindu, and the Confucianism, which is Lujiao. Yeah. So it's like when you reach a legal age for around 17, we would make the IC card or ID card, and then they would like ask, what's your religion? They only give these 6 options. So if your religion is not one of these 6 options, then you don't have any choice but to choose one. Yeah, that's the trouble. So about the season and climate, because we are a tropical island, tropical country, so there's only dry and rainy season. So now would be around dry season. But then even though it's rainy season, the temperature will not be as low as here at Taiwan. So it's still gonna be above 30 degrees. So it's gonna be hot every time. Then these are just some basic Indonesian phrases. So I will start with your right side here. So good morning is selamat pagi. Yeah. And good afternoon would be selamat siang. And good evening would be selamat sore. And good night would be selamat malam. Yeah. So you can see like there's a repetition of selamat, right? So it's just like the same as English, like good morning, good afternoon. The selamat and the good is the same thing. But then if you're only just going to use selamat, it actually means like you're congratulating someone. So for example, when someone is having their graduation, you will say, oh, selamat, means like we're congratulating them. But here in like timeline, good morning, good afternoon, here is just like a helping word. So we just use that. But sometimes if you want to say like, oh, morning, you can also just say pagi. So the selamat is not actually necessary. And you guys might be curious about this one, like you would ask how are you, right? And for Indonesian we would say apa kabar. Yeah, it's something similar to Malaysia. Yeah. So our how are you is actually the same, so it's like apa kabar. And if you want to say thank you is terima kasih. Terima kasih. A bit confusing, right? So we'll just move on to the foods. So there's a lot of foods in Indonesia, but this is the most famous one. So the first one would be this one, nasi goreng, which is fried rice. So what's special about the Indonesian fried rice is we use sweet soy sauce and also the fermented shrimp paste, or also called as terasi. So the taste would be a bit funky, but it would also add the savoriness to the dish. And then I think what differentiates our fried rice with other places is they don't use this too. Also the sweet soy sauce. So sometimes when you eat Indonesian fried rice, you can also taste a hint of sweet. Yeah. Then we also have rendang, which is like a braised beef with a lot of spices and herbs. And I will like explain it later on in the next slide. And then we also have satay. Yeah, I think the satay is quite popular right here. Yeah, so the satay in Indonesia, we can use different kind of protein like lamb, beef, or chicken. There's like, you can use anything, but sometimes in different or like specific region, they also sometimes use like bat and dogs. Yeah. And that's for satay. But what's special that our satay we use peanut sauce. So I don't think other places use peanut sauce, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then we also have this one. This is like just a snack, or you can also eat it with rice. So it's tofu and tempeh with chili paste. So the tempeh actually looks like this before it's cooked. So it's a soy beef, but it's fermented until it has that fungus. Yeah, it's like one of the healthy food at Indonesia because it contains a lot of protein, and it's like it can replace the chicken and those meat because the protein content is so high. So it's like considered as a healthy food. So before it's cooked, it looks like this. And then when it's like fried, it will look something like this. This is tofu, and then this is the tempeh. Yeah. And then the last one will be Indomie. Have any of you guys heard of Indomie? Yeah. So I think it's also quite popular here. So Indomie is like one of the instant noodle at Indonesia. It's like there's a lot of flavor, if I'm not mistaken. And this is like one of the originals. I think you guys can try it if you haven't. It's like very popular. A lot of people say it's really nice. And then I'll just like introduce a bit about rendang. So rendang is actually usually they use the beef, but then you can also replace the protein with other like lamb or chicken. And like for this dish, they use a lot of spices and also like onion, ginger, and also chili. So it might be a bit spicy. And then like they just like cook it in these spices and like braise it for a few hours so that the spices and flavors can absorb in the meat. And I think you guys might be curious about what I introduced before. So if you guys would like to try, here are some recommended Indonesian foods at Taipei. So if you guys are like students like me who look for a cheaper option, I think I can recommend you guys Chandu, Batavia, and also Super Satay. Maybe you guys want to take pictures. Okay. So I think quite sometimes the Chandu and Batavia, I think it's very nice for like Indonesian food, not like Indonesia. And the price is also still affordable for students. But then if you're looking for something more high class or looking for something that Michelin star, then you can go here to Satay House. They got the Michelin star for 2021 and 2022. What's famous for this place is the satay. So if you guys go here, then you can try the satay. But then, of course. So I think you can try and ask if they can like separate the chili. Yeah, if you don't eat it spicy. And then for like other places, they have those foods that I mentioned before, like rendang, and they also have like fried chicken and those things. And then next is I would like to introduce about our flora and fauna, 植物 and 动物. So for as I mentioned before, because Indonesia has a lot of biodiversity and like Indonesia is also included in one of the Wallace Line and Silver Line. So our animals and our flora and fauna, there's a lot of different species and diversity. So I'll just like pick one of the famous ones, which is stinky corpse lily. Also, does anyone of you know? So stinky corpse lily is one of the Indonesia's national flowers. So you can see like this flower itself is very huge compared to like those other flowers. And what's special is that this flower can only grow at the Sumatra and Kalimantan island of the Indonesia, and the size can go until like this big. And one thing is that if you are near this flower, you can smell the corpse smell. That's why the name is called stinking corpse lily. And another name for this flower is called Rafflesia arnoldi. So Rafflesia arnoldi is named after the founder of this flower. So the founder name is Rafflesia, so they called this flower also as Rafflesia arnoldi. But in English it's called stinking corpse lily. And then another one is Komodo dragon. So this Komodo dragon, you can only find it at the Komodo Islands there at Indonesia. So this actually looks like a dinosaur, right? It's like actually a big lizard where it can grow until like 3 meters and around 130-ish kg. So it's very huge, but then it don't prey on us humans, so don't worry. It usually preys on like deers and those things. So it's actually not far from Bali actually. So if you guys are interested, then maybe you can go. And another thing that's special about Komodo dragon is their saliva. So the saliva of Komodo dragon is poisonous, where if you got bitten and you got bitten, and then the saliva like go into you, the saliva will cause the destruction of the blood clotting. So your blood will not clot, and then it will like bleed you out slowly. And like I heard some stories that if let's say like the Komodo dragon like bitten their prey, but then it got away. So because of the saliva, then the Komodo dragon can like smell the blood, and they will like chase after you after. Yeah. So it's very scary. So I'll just like show a video.
When I first saw the dragon close up, I was really amazed. There's something about that prehistoric look that they have, that weird sort of eye sneaking around, the saliva dripping in the mouth. They have an interesting gait, and they kind of wave the head back and forth, and their front legs make big circles to come around, and they cover a lot of ground with their steps. Komodo dragons live only on islands in the Indonesian archipelago. There's probably, maybe only about 3,000 of these animals there. The villages are not large, they're usually sort of right on the coast, and the dragons are kind of off in the distance. The dragons don't generally attack and kill and drive off. That's not really usually because sometimes just a defensive fight and the dragon leaves. But I think more and more as the villages spread out a bit, the dragons are coming closer to people and coming into the villages more often in search of food. In the culture, there is a reverence for Komodo dragons, and they do see them as sort of an ancestral form. People have been kind of obsessed with the Komodo dragon saliva, what's in it and how deadly is it. The venom actually has a component in it that stops the blood from clotting. And so when the animal crawls away and maybe tries to hide out, it's going to bleed out much faster because of this venom that's in its blood. And so the dragons will be able to sniff out that animal a little bit more and feed on it and it's going to escape. But certainly the saliva of the Komodo dragon is nasty stuff. When you see these in the wild, you think, wow, this is sort of a relic of evolution. It's just a beauty and a look about them. And I just think it would be incredible to live amongst these ancient dragons.
Then the next one that I would like to introduce is the cendrawasih, or also called as the bird of paradise. So this bird is special, where you can see like the feathers are very beautiful, and there's like different colors of yellow and white. And what's special about this bird is that this bird inspired a dance that's called the cendrawasih dance, where the dance is like mimicking the mating ritual of the bird. So it's like one of the popular dances in Indonesia where they mostly like perform it at Bali. So maybe if you guys are going to Bali, you can see this dance. So I'll just like show a video on how it is. Okay, so I think that's like that's all for the flora and fauna. It's like one of the popular ones. So next, I will introduce you about tourist spots. So if you guys are going to Indonesia, then maybe you might be interested. So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of islands and also places to go. So I'll just like introduce some of the popular ones. So the first place I will introduce is the capital city, or Jakarta, or the place where I came from. So if you guys like cities, shopping malls, and those city places to go, then I would recommend Jakarta. But then at Jakarta, it's not only just about the city and shopping mall. There's also like several amusement parks, and those amusement parks actually have like made beach. So you guys can also like find beaches at Jakarta. And this place is actually called Ancol, which is a amusement park. They also have like the aquarium and those usual things that's at the amusement park. And what's special about this place is that because they are connected to the sea, so you can actually use a jet ski or a ship or a ferry to go to another island from this place. Yeah. So if you go to Jakarta, you guys are bored of the city place. I recommend you guys can use a jet ski or a boat to go to another island. Yeah. And at Jakarta, we also have Kota Tua, or also called as the Old City. So because we are colonized by the Netherlands, so at the Old City, the buildings and architecture of the buildings are mostly looks like from the Netherlands. So a lot of people actually go there to like feel the old vibes of Indonesia before it was the independence. And in Indonesia, we also have one popular monument at your right side, which is called the National Monument. I've been there, but I never really go in. I think it's like closed already because when they open it for tourists and the Indonesian people, it gets dirty and like unprotected. So I think they close it. So when you go there, maybe you can just like go around it and like take picture from the outside. Then the next place would be, of course, Bali. So at Bali, what's famous is that they got a lot of cafes, a lot of beaches, and a lot of temples. So at Bali, like a lot of temples are like above ground. It's like somewhere near the mountain. So you are high up there and you can see like the scenery outside, and like this cafe. It's like at one of the mountains. Then you can take picture with the mountains and also the sea. And then like there's a lot of beaches, of course. So if you guys like surfing, jet ski, water sports, that kind, then you can go to Bali first. And a lot of temples you can take pictures with. Then another place I would recommend is Lombok. So I think most of the people don't know Lombok yet. So it's just beside Bali. It's also another island actually. So if you guys are like saying, oh, Bali, there's too much people know already, and like it's too crowded and everything. So I recommend you guys can go to Lombok. It's like something similar to Bali, where you guys can see a lot of cafes, a lot of water sports, a lot of mountains. So you guys can basically do anything at Lombok, but just don't expect it to be a like city. There's not much high building and everything yet. So Lombok is mostly similar to Bali, but lesser people. So if you guys think that, oh, Bali there's too much people already, too well known, then I suggest you can go to Lombok. And there's other tourist spots, like if you are a Buddhist, maybe you would know. So this is like one of the world's 7 wonders, where it's called the Borobudur Temple. So what's special about this temple is like it's the biggest one in the world, and like they don't use cement to like build this temple. So they just use the bricks and then build it like Lego, if you understand what I mean. They don't use any cement, and it just builds up until this high and this big. So like because I think a few weeks ago there's the Waisak, which is like one of the big event on Buddhist, where it's like the birth of Buddha. So So during that event, like a lot of the monks and a lot of Buddhists will go here and celebrate the Waisak. And then on the right side is Lake Tombak. So this lake is also counted as one of the biggest lakes. What's special about this lake is it is actually made from the three volcanic eruption. So it was not like this before, but because of the volcanic eruption of three mountains, three volcanic eruption, it causes the lake to be like that naturally. So that's like one of the biggest lake, and also a lot of people actually come and look at this lake. So it's at the Sumatra Island. Then I think that's all from me. Thank you for everyone's attention. So does anybody have any questions?
Where can I find the instant noodle you just mentioned?
Oh, instant noodle? You mean nearby here, or there's a lot of Indonesian shop. Like nearby here, there's called Indoto. Or you can go to Carrefour. I think you can also find it there.
Thank you.
There's also another Indo shop at the Taipei main station. It's called Index. INDEX. They have like a lot of flavors of them, Indomie and those other Indonesian snacks.
That store on the ground?
Yeah, at
Okay.
the Taipei, the lower one and the yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The question is that there's a food you mentioned, like a tofu, just like being fermented with. I think the idea is like the natto from Japan.
Yeah.
So it tastes like fermented, so smelly or
No, because for natto they don't like ferment it this way, right?
Yes.
So this one is not smelly at all. It's just when you eat it, there's a strong soybean taste. So if you like soybean, then you will like it. But for me, who's not a big fan of soybean, I don't really like it. Yeah.
So you will not taste like sour?
No.
It's like tofu. Or just big?
Soybean.
Okay.
Then you can try it. Anybody have any other questions? Then we can move on to the quiz. So the first question would be, what is the capital city of Indonesia? Very fast.
Jakarta.
Yeah, true. Okay, then the second one would be, what animal inspired the Pancasila symbol, the national emblem? The cute little stripe is where.
Raise your hand if you know the answer. Yeah?
讲完好可以了。
Yeah. And then the third question is, what does the color of Indonesia flag mean?
The red is blood and courage, and the white is purity and spirit.
Yeah. And the fourth one is, what is the name of the Indonesia's national flower? Yeah, the big one, the big one. The smelly one. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah. And the last question is, what does the Chandrawasi dance represent? Or the bird of paradise? The video. A hint? It's like a ritual of something that the bird do.
Dinner?
Raise your hand.
Camera making.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.